We will continue and we will move into a sector that unfortunately, one must say, has been getting a lot of attention lately. It's been 1,484 days of the Ukraine war and already 19 days of the newest Iran conflict. There is one startup that started in the same year of the Ukraine war, in 2022, which has been growing tremendously ever since. They do unmanned ground vehicles and infrastructure AI for the defense sector. On LinkedIn, it says 202% employee growth in 1 year only. We want to now hear, how does scaling in such extreme situations work? What are the learnings from the past years, and how does that company look ahead? So please put your hands together with a big, big applause for our host, which is from SAP, Jan Gutknecht, and then from ARX Robotics, Simon Schrüfer. Thank you so much, you two, and please welcome here on the stage.
Thanks for the introduction. Now coming from the sovereignty of internet, talking about, now entering in the general sovereignty, the sovereignty of Europe, so to say, we want to talk about what does it take to really scale a defense startup today. Looking in the general historical situation at the moment, for us this means we need to really have a look closer to what happens in Ukraine, which is heavy at the moment. Generally speaking, also the NATO is ramping up in general. The German Bundeswehr is ramping up. I would assume that most of the people here in the room never experienced such a situation so far, right?
Me neither. So it's new for everyone.
And you are one of the very first employees of ARX Robotics. We know each other for a couple of years now. ARX Robotics has investors such as Speed Invest, the NATO Innovation Fund, Project A also involved early on with you. We already had a conversation about that yesterday. Also, you are a Series A startup. We heard about roughly 200 employees. You have been founded in 2021, roughly. You have offices already in Munich as your headquarters.
Exactly.
In Munich, in Kiev, in London. So you're already spreading around Europe. What is the founding history of ARX Robotics? Can you give us briefly the insights, starting with that?
Well, it began fairly easy. So colleagues of mine met each other at the Bundeswehr University in Munich and studied there in the officer's career path. So they were active soldiers. And during a university project, they came up with the idea of how can we make the Bundeswehr more sophisticated when it comes to technology, not be dependent from the Americans or, in general speaking, everyone else, because we in Europe lack a bit of that. And they just saw in real life the needs and the possibilities that can be made. So
maybe if I enter there, we also need to consider 2021. Back then, I mean,
it was peace.
Peace around.
Exactly.
We had, of course, we had COVID, right? But no one was thinking about, okay, what could happen very soon.
So Ukraine wasn't on the map even. So that was out of the scope yet. But what they did is, in the Bundeswehr or in the military soldier context, there's always the need to pretend to be bigger as you are, because you can make people and other troops think, okay, wait a minute, there is something pretending to shoot at us. We need to figure it out, and so you can save up multiple hours, even days. So what they did is they created and invented a small robot with a blinking LED light on the top of it, with a loudspeaker on it, that's just simply simulated shooting at stuff. So, and apparently the Bundeswehr University found that idea rather good. I have to say the Bundeswehr University in general has a very good startup incubator. So what they did is they talked to the guys, said, hey, this is actually an idea that can be worth continue developing, and gave them some first money. And that was even before 2021. In 2021, the company was founded. And
there was a very early engagement from the University of Bundeswehr.
Exactly. So
Okay.
actually the Bundeswehr University already saw the potential, and they're still doing it with other startups, with other ideas. So that's really nice. When we then came into this real being a startup life, the product got bigger and bigger. So what we ended up now is we have a 1 by 1 meter, half meter high robot tracked system that is either remote controlled or fully autonomous, and is being currently used in Ukraine to defend the Ukrainian forces against the Russians. And
For what the military use it?
so basically, the Ukrainians use it for reconnaissance. So with our modularity platform, we can put cameras, radars, transport baskets, whatever you want. The Ukrainians basically use it for transportation. So this last mile, this last front mile until the battlefield actually begins is a really, really highly dangerous zone. Because of all the drones and the aerial activities, and there is where our robots come into place and actually helping soldiers, because there is no need for soldiers anymore. So what we actually did is we tried to multiply the battlefield by reducing the amount of soldiers needed, and actually saving, like, it sounds a bit pathetic, but saving lives in the end, because in the end a robot gets destroyed and not a human being.
Okay, so we understand that already pre-Ukrainian situation, there was already a huge interest in the Bundeswehr because they saw the potential, but so far everything was more or less peace around. And then February 24th happened.
Yeah, that was interesting, yeah.
How was the situation during these days in ARX Robotics?
I mean,
how did it change also your behavior within the company, the mood? We all know you are in a startup environment, of course, but I would assume, okay, starting such a business in a different environment and then changes. What really then happened within this couple of days, weeks within your company?
It changed everything. So being a startup and having a nice robot that you can play around and show some soldiers and some generals is nice. But actually, we have a close connection to the Ukrainians, so we actually went there very first hand-on, gifted them some robots to just help, and seeing them in like real life scenarios, like what we never experienced. I never experienced it in my lifetime. This is life changing. So this is something where we saw that the systems have an actual use case. This is where the systems can be at a help. This is where the systems can be a multiplier. And can be a big, tremendous help for the troops there. For us, of course, it changed everything as well. I mean, before that, we had a problem getting a bank account with a German bank because, like, defense, oh my God, nobody wants to talk about defense and war is bad. After that, we couldn't say no too often, like.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was like they're running your doors.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, we couldn't hide we had to hide that we were working at ARX in LinkedIn because we got spammed on LinkedIn so much. Everybody wanted to go into defense, and this is the crucial thing where we saw, okay, this is now the crunch time, more or less to say, where we need to actually focus and put in processes.
Okay. If we compare it a little bit, I mean, SME companies, they have decades or generations to really build up their companies, so to say. Startups in general, 5 to 7 years. But even this doesn't count for ARX, right? Because, I mean, as we hear right now, time has changed. What does this then mean, and how did you really address this, that you need to really ramp up everything so quite fast now? What have been the pillars, or still are the pillars, you need to consider?
I think the crucial things for us in the beginning was that we had this advantage of delivering fast. So we weren't the big dinosaurs in the industry that develop tanks for 20 years or airplanes for 50 years. So where we were good at is that someone asked, hey, do you have a solution for that? We could deliver it over the weekend. And we always tried to keep that spirit, even now. It's getting tougher and tougher. But we were kind of the cowboys in this kind of field, because we always said when it comes to the trade-off, how secure is the system and how helpful can be the system, we always choose helpfulness. So what we try to do is, and we try to actually put this in everyone's brain, is in the end we are trying to save lives. So a trade-off can be made, but not on the saving lives part.
If we go a little bit deeper into this, I mean, in startups in general, you have time pressure, right? I mean, that's not a question at all, and I mean, everyone can experience that and knows that quite well. But in your special situation, I mean, there's not only general time pressure because of your investors, because of really winning the market itself. I mean, you also have time pressure because situation is right now. There's no excuse, right?
Exactly. So the momentum is now. The money is given away now. Everyone sees that the idea of living in peace for the next 150 years isn't really there. So there is a change, a mindset change in Europe, in Germany. We see that in everywhere. But still, I mean, we are not in this sexy tech startup environment. We are in this old dinosaur world, white collar, old guys. Sorry to upfront someone, but in this like dinosaur world where everything takes tremendous amounts of times. It gotten better, but it's still miles away from the speed we are trying to keep up. Like we are measuring ourselves with it. So this is really tough for us, because on the one hand we want to be quick and we try to be quick, but on the other hand we are kind of fixed to the German or the European.
So in this regulated industry,
exactly,
so
highly regulated,
okay.
Really tough environment.
Okay. What is the philosophy of your company when really entering in such a growth stage, and also what kind of pillars you address? I mean, ramping up a company has many different aspects. I mean, you have R&D, right? You need to ramp up production. So what are the pillars you really have a focus on and really have a look on? And also, what is, again, the philosophy of your company? You already get into it a little bit in terms of, okay, we just want to get it done, right? But is there a little bit more behind just then, okay, let's get it done, when it comes really to your North Star, to your philosophy and the pillars you need to do in order to ramp up your company?
That's a tricky thing, because ramping up for us isn't as easy as it might be for others, because you need to imagine that if the German Bundeswehr, or let's say some other European MOD, wants to buy a product from us, they're not buying 5 or 20, they're buying thousands. So we need to be able to put the switch on to put the gas on the throttle from one night to the other night, and just be able to produce in masses. So what we are always keeping in mind and what we're trying to achieve is that we not necessarily ramp up right now, but we are ramping up slowly, but always keeping in focus that if the time is there and if it's needed, we can create those masses and this numbers that are asked from us. Therefore, we are partnering with partners like Deutz and Mercedes-Benz, even for the production capabilities. I mean, this is super crucial for us.
I mean, that's also amazing. If we keep it in mind, you said it, Deutz, Mercedes-Benz, you're also partnering with Helsing. I guess everyone's also aware of Helsing, right? You are partnering also with the Rank. I mean, this is also, I mean, is this a key pillar you need to have, or how did this come? I mean, did they get to you and said, hey, you are so innovative with your technology and let's partner, or did you need to reach out to them? How was that going on?
It was kind of back and forth. So we were not necessarily looking. They approached us. We liked the idea, and so the deals come to the part. But for us, it has this nice benefit that all these companies have huge production capacities that they're not using to the fullest right now, that we can actually more or less capture in the times needed. And I mean, we're not the unicorn there. I mean, Porsche is thinking of going to the defense market as well. Volkswagen also has a huge capacity problem at the moment, so they're focusing on how to get these lines productive again. And I think it's a win-win in the end.
So this does mean for you, okay, on the one side you have your own production facility in Munich, right? But partnering with them means that you bring the technology, you are doing a lot of in R&D, and when it comes to really then ramping up very fast production, then you're also partnering with them.
Yeah.
So what's the impact by going this kind of partnerships?
You mean in terms of?
Yeah, I mean, is it much easier or is it more complicated? Because on the one side, yes, you're talking about production capabilities you need to build up. This would normally take a lot of time. But on the other side, I guess, I mean, you are a young startup, right? And these are
Worlds
more or less
together, yeah.
traditional companies. And the question is really, of course, you are in a different environment because you have also a history in the Bundeswehr with a lot of employees you have. Maybe we can also enter this because I guess this is also interesting. How does the hiring look in the beginning? Yeah, this was also interesting. But is it more an advantage or does it take some time until it becomes an advantage when cooperating with such kind of established companies?
I mean, when it comes to the partnerships with Renk and Deutz, it's of course it's tough for us. It's tough for them as well, because as I said, worlds clashes together. They have their production plans, they have their production planning, they have their, I don't know, whatever lists and processes, and then we come, like the cowboys, I said again, and say, well, when they ask us, how do you build these guys, how can we mass produce this? I don't know, like these are the parts, we put them together, finished, easy. But that's not how these companies work, of course. So for us, it was a big learning to partner up with them, to get insights how actually a mass production could look like. We learned a lot from them. I think I hope they learned something from us as well, maybe speed, and not like you said it already. Like we try to fix problems and not to discuss problems. So maybe that's something they took away from that. But speaking of the hiring pipeline. That's a different story, because when I started,
you have been employee number 2.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
something like that. To be like not 2, but maybe 4, something like that. Like really early on. We had a nice office at the university. It was a room. No, but in the beginning it was just friends from university and soldiers and some non-military guys. I'm a non-military guy, so I was brought in to actually found or form the project management office and get some structure in. I come from big companies, and they thought it might be a good idea to have someone that already wrote that rodeo one time ago. So we had those pipelines in tech, but non-tech, and I mean we are a tech company. In the end, we do our production, which is hardware, prototyping, but also we do the software, and the software is really the key. I mean, autonomous driving doesn't come from its own. We have the approach that we want to build it our own and not to buy it again from maybe still friendly states. But this is really been tough for us, because like good people are not lying around in the streets. You have to look for them, so talent acquisition was crucial for us. We were happy that we had a partner with Project A and A11 that helped us with that. And they built the foundation for the 200 plus employees we have today. And we see the need for even more.
Okay, so still growing very much.
Yeah.
There's no end so far. Okay, turning a little bit back on the question we had before in terms of your partnering with such companies, they already established, right? On the one side, and on the other side, you're building everything up. What does this mean in the past also when it comes to, okay, how do you build your operations? Because, I mean, this is something you need to establish also when it comes to cooperating, especially when you're talking about co-production, so to say, because, I mean, there are traditional companies, they have running infrastructure, so to say, not only physically, also on a process level, on a business backbone level. When did you recognize from your side that you need to build something like that also?
Basically from day one.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So, well, I at least saw the need for it. I mean, we were a bunch of young guys that had this great idea, and we saw the potential, and we thought this is it. We still think it is. And we have the saying that you have at least have a purpose, you need to have an impact, and you have to be good. So that we gave to every employee that started with us, and no rules. So do you think this is worth buying? Then buy it. Do you think this is worth trying? Then try it.
But how long does this work? Such a kind of an attitude.
Exactly. I think when employer 50 started, that was the crucial moment where we saw, okay, this might not be the way forever, and we said, okay, we actually need to now put in some processes.
Okay, so
put some rules together.
50 employees already raised Series A back then?
Yes.
Yes, okay, 50 employees raised Series A. And then you said, okay, we need to do something, right?
Exactly.
And this is exactly when we get into touch so a little bit,
Yes.
which was quite interesting because I can remember your CFO, Maximilian, entered into our office and his opinion directly was, hey, what should I do with SAP? Honestly.
Yeah,
So
I mean...
how did this change?
Speaking of dinosaur, right? I mean, when we came up with the idea, okay, we need something like an ERP system, everyone was screaming, oh, please, don't let it be SAP. Please don't let it be Microsoft, or please don't let it be Oracle. We tried to look for an ERP system, and the need came from finance. We looked into all different categories of sizes of companies and whatever. But a very clever man told us that an ERP system is something you do once. You hope for it. So they said to us, do it once, but do it good, do it right. And you will never, if you do it once good, you will never see the need to change it. So for us, with this path of scale up and this path to be as big as we want to be, the small players were out of it instantly, and we focus on the big ones. And I mean, I have to say, you made a good impression. That's probably we ended up with you. But no, to be fully honest, I think for us, it totally makes sense to partner with SAP. We will never have the issue that SAP is too small for us. Never. We have the possibility to actually put everything there is in our company into SAP. I mean, you have a great software stack, and not purely the thing for the decision, but also very important for us is it's a German company.
Okay.
I mean, we talked with Microsoft, we talked with Oracle, but these were the times when Donald Trump started to act weirder than even for his standards. We said to us, okay, this is maybe more important than we think of. We always heard it before. So we wanted to actually have the data in Germany and partner with.
So it's also part of your own sovereignty strategy, so to say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Now talking about ERPs in general, but is a topic. But in general, it's also that you need to establish business processes, right? And when talking about ERP, everyone thinks, "Oh my God, this is so huge," and how can I handle this, so to say? Your approach was different, right? You started in a smaller way. What was your strategy, and still is your strategy, and what can you recommend to everyone here in the room how to get in such a project? How can you put it into small brackets, and then also go from there?
Yeah. So I think the most important learning from us was, even though it's SAP, you can't really start too early. Not saying that you need to go with SAP, but focus on one tool, and even you think, okay, we are too small, we don't need that yet. Trust me, you will need it at some point, and then it's easier if you start early. So that said, we had this luxury of doing a completely crazy greenfield approach. So we had nothing in place before that. So that probably made it a bit easier. But as you said, we had this approach, okay, we want to start with that, but we want not to slow us down, coming to that again. We don't want to build crazy release workflows where half the company needs to click on a button to order something. So the idea was we start with the minimum needed.
What was the minimum needed for you, in your opinion? Because I mean, minimum does mean very different things for everyone.
True. So for us, we actually wanted to start with finance only. So only the finance and controlling side. But then we talked with you and our implementation partners, and they said, well, finance is nice to have, but do you want to fill it with some data coming from the system itself? So we ended up putting our sales pipeline in it, so we can create offers and sales purchase orders in the system. We have our full procurement process in the system, so we buy stuff. We have our MRP runs. We have a warehouse, of course, and we have the finance and controlling part. Right now, we are implementing a production system into our SAP. So we have the production in our system, and as you said, we have this approach that we start slow, we start low, but then build it up from there and implement and increase.
How long was the project running, honestly?
You mean the implementation phase?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean everyone is about, okay, it's always huge, it's big, not only the scope, but also the time you need to invest, right, to really build it up. But in the end, honestly, so how long was it?
I mean, when did we first met? I think it was like a year ago, right?
Roughly, yes.
And I think we signed the contract in the end of May last year.
Yes.
And we started the project on 1st of July or something like that.
Okay.
So 1st of July was kickoff, and we went live on the 1st of January this year, so 6 months. Mm. So it was, I was told I have to say the sentence.
From whom?
I don't recall. No, but in the end, it worked perfectly fine. We have a million problems, but nothing is connected with the system itself. It's change management and user management. But it was, I won't say it was easy, but it wasn't as hard as everyone said it will be. So yes, you can implement SAP without a lot of headaches. Yes, you can do it in 6 months. And yes, you can do it in fairly low scope.
Okay, 3 advices to the audience here. Really 3 advices in terms of really to the project. What was key that it really ran that smooth?
I think we had a great partner with you guys. We had a great implementation partner. Be wise, choose that wisely. This will be crucial for the times where it's not that easy. You need to have super focus. You need to be really good aligned inside the company, what you need and what you want to do, that you don't hear too much noise, okay? And if you see, they show you nice slides and tell you this is a nice product, and then everyone says, yes, let's do this.
But honestly, how did you really challenge who's the best vendor for you and also partner? How did you really get into it? How did you get the feeling on the technical perspective on the one side, right? But also on the other side, okay, can we trust these people there? Because I mean, it's of course on the one side it's a technical setup, but on the other side it's always a people business. Maybe to some advice to the people here. How did you really, from your perspective, I mean, you, Max, Stefan was involved also in the process. How did you manage to get the feeling, okay, we can trust them and let's get that done?
I mean, I think it's just a feeling, because in the end, if we would have chosen Microsoft, it would probably do the same job. Maybe not as good, maybe not, I don't know. But it was a feeling. I mean, it was just a feeling how people talk to us. We felt that we are talking on eye level. We have the same approach, we have the same idea. There was no bullshit bingo, and that's something we liked. And I mean, I said it before, we want to be fast. We started the process of choosing an ERP in February, and we decided in March, so that was quite fast. So if we choose something and we are certain with it, we are quite certain that this is the right choice. And I mean, in the end, if we don't try it, we can't find it out.
Last question. Did it hurt?
Sometimes.
Okay. Simon, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Big applause to you too. It's fantastic to get some rare insights behind a sector that really does not like to talk very openly. So thank you so much for sharing those. Great appreciation for that. Big applause for you too.